It's the dead of night. Still quiet. The moon has almost made her arc across the sky, hiding now behind the lee of the wings. Even the nighthawk, which had been cooing for most of the night, has fallen silent. And there you are, the two of you, together, on the stoop, as the rest of the party waits inside, pretty heavily in their cups. And so,
unfortunately, I don't think you understand what you're up against.
I may not understand what you're going through, Marcella, but I fully understand about doing something against your will to try and protect those you care about. My magics are of nature, but they were twisted from life, growth, and beauty to something of death, decay, and blight for a cause I was forced to support, not one I believed in.
I don't know that you could necessarily say that I didn't believe in it.
I seem to remember you believing very well.
Shut up. Marge would hear that. Absolutely would hear her say shut up.
I did not say anything.
You've done it now.
Unfortunately, dear friend, I was not talking to you.
I've seen your magics. You hide them well, but they're the same as Aoife's. I take it you have agreed to a pact.
I did. As far as I knew, it was my only chance.
Your only chance for what?
My only chance to save him. Yes, she is being vague on purpose.
From the words you choose, I guess you did not succeed.
She turns away from you and you see her shoulders kind of slump. And she very quietly just says, I didn't.
None here will judge you for taking a pact, Marcella. There's no need to hide it. Aoife has made such a deal.
I can't say that Aoife has taken the same type of deal. And Marcella normally wears a high collar, which I'm sure you have noticed. Probably never question it, but she reaches up and the zip button's at the back, so she undoes the top few buttons and pulls the collar down. Enough that you see that, at least from what you can gather, based on what her shirt covers, she is covered from about the neck down, you could rightly assume, by a network of tattoos. They're a little... The best way I can think to describe it is a little thorny looking, but kind of crisscross in a filigree pattern. If you're really paying attention, you'll notice that there are specific shapes. And that's, or at least the starts of what looks like it may be a bigger shape. That's, I mean, I'm looking at you guys in the camera and showing my left side, but that's because I have stuff in my right hand. But that's, you can see almost like roughly around like where her right collarbone starts, a little shape that kind of is starting to peek out right around there. You're not quite sure what it is, but you can tell it's part of a bigger, more solid, like, actual shape, not just this, like, lace work.
Marcella's been drinking a little bit this evening. Maybe not at her most stable. How hard would you say she's pushing back against her patron right now?
I feel like usually she would be very good about this, even when drinking, because I will actually be very upfront with both of you. She lied about her favorite drink to cover up the fact that she is a trauma drinker. Normally she would be very good at this, but she is, in the sense that, like, someone who drinks regularly would be. I wouldn't say she's an alcoholic by any means, but she definitely does drink pretty regularly, to try to, like, ease some of this pain, even after as long as it has been. But tonight she is also feeling incredibly vulnerable, so I don't know that she is being as guarded towards this as she would normally be. Well,
she's already heard from her patron more in the last, half an hour than she might have in the previous month?
Maybe in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Well, that being the case, when she starts to pull away at her collar, and you can start to see the lines in the beginning of a shape, a single blue mote of light comes from behind her ear and joins the top of the network, and it just pulses ever so faintly blue. And then another. And then another. And it will keep going until they're covered up again.
From what I learned during my tour of duty, pacts are very specific things. What did you agree to, Marcella? What was offered?
Please understand that I was young and impressionable, frankly a little daft. I was promised the power to save. And you see her kind of stop for a second, and her hand falls away from her collar. She kind of takes a deep breath and just looks at you square in your sweet little bear face. I was promised the power to save my father.
But if he is not here, that means you were not given that power. So it sounds like your pact is broken before it started.
Unfortunately, I don't believe she works that way.
I promised to give you the magic she needed. I never said for what. Don't let me bear the blame because you failed to understand.
That's she looks away from you, Marge, and just kind of looks like kind of off over her shoulder, and just you hear her say, I can't reasonably be blamed for the way that you phrased your terms.
Well, sounds like we're both blameless, and we'll just have to work this out between us now, won't we?
Oh, if I could slap you, I would.
Technically, you can.
She sighs like that, just completely and utterly defeated. You can tell that they've had this conversation before, whatever this conversation is, because you're only getting one side of it.
Why do you hide this from everyone? If we are to work together, we have to trust each other. And currently, the only person that I trust wholeheartedly is Aoife.
I don't hide this to be deceitful. I hide this, what I've become, to protect. You would not be the first people she has threatened to hurt.
You keep speaking as if she is here with us. Is she?
Oh, tell him. This will be fun.
She just sighs a little frustrated at that. Maud, she's always here. She never goes away. Never leaves me. And she reaches up to her collar again and pulls it down and points to the network of tattoos on her, which, now that they are uncovered again, are still lightly pulsing blue.
I have a distinct memory that night you told me you didn't want to be alone. Well, congratulations.
I hate her so much. For the record, I'm going to leave this in the edited version. I am completely and utterly holding up my green card right now, but God, I hate her so much. But that she points at the tattoos on her, like on her neck, and they're still faintly glowing, and she just, Marge, when I say she never leaves me, I mean it. She is me.
Marge would sit for a minute.
Do you know her name? And is it possible for me to address her directly?
I know what she's told me. But frankly, I don't know if it's true. As far as I know, she goes by the name Camille. Oh, that Justin face, though.
I really wish everybody could see the Justin face right now, because he looks like the Cheshire Cat.
He is so mischievous. He's gonna that face is gonna that smile is gonna get even bigger when I tell him what I want to do when this conversation is done.
Now you see the DM in his natural element.
He's very excited.
Marge is going to stand up because he'd been sitting on the stoop at this point, so that he was more eye level with Marcella, and he's going to stand to his full height.
Carmel, is it? Why are you threatening to harm those around your vessel for revealing who and what she is?
I will willingly sacrifice some to save all, Bearman. It must not be known that I can yet act. Were my vessel's will not stronger, I might needs end you as well, just for knowing.
You could try, but that would be the end of your vessel. If you truly are always there, you've seen what I can do. And if you wish her to continue to grow in power to serve you, she will need allies that she can trust and that can trust her.
Those I thought were my allies are the reason I now need a host to begin with. As to trust, why would I trust you, much less her? At this point, it might be easier to simply drive her mad and claim another of your number. Maybe that swamp witch.
And before you say anything, Marge, Carmel would hear, because Marcella is still present, but she is now communicating as Carmel would with her. What makes you think she would be any less strong-willed and stubborn?
Child, I have encountered thousands of beings over countless centuries, and I am fairly certain you are the most hard-headed of the lot.
Good.
At the threat to Aoife, Marge's voice would carry a totally different weight. A more serious tone, even though there's something else there.
You are dancing a fine line, Ghost. I will give all that I am to protect those that I count in my number. This one is now part of my numbers, are those in the hut. She is also in my debt by the old laws.
For a moment, Marge, you see something else overlaid on top of Marcella's features. A face you've never seen before, and it looks at you hard. Its eyes almost bore through you. What claim have you to the old ways?
That is my secret to bear, Ghost. The claim is made.
Be careful what you take as yours. If this claim is valid, it might well be the end of you all. I would have saved her when the fires come. And the face disappears.
I'm sorry. What?
She doesn't answer.
Oh, you self-righteous bitch! Justin, I'm going to make you a roll.
Okay, go for it.
But I have a different outcome because I'm going with that highest DC.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically because that's someone who's very vulnerable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I'm pretty sure she's going to fail this. Yeah, that was a 3. Except I'm not going to roll the other dice. I'm just going to tell you what happens.
Let's hear it.
Marge, you see that while that network of tattoos comes up to her neck, it is only on the right side of her neck. And after that face recedes, you see that light pulse and travel further across her throat. And you actually notice there is, like, right between her collarbones, right about where you would figure vocal cords would be, you see a little bear paw. So it looks like a bear track mixed in with this network of filigree.
How curious. Of all the warlocks I've known, I've never seen one wear their patron.
Not by choice. Though, I'm guessing. I'm guessing there's more there now. She doesn't like specify, but I'm assuming you would know that like she's saying it like she doesn't know, but she would have felt this like creep a little bit, but she's asking you to confirm it.
It appears you have a bear paw now.
I'll be honest, I was afraid of that. Those don't appear very often, but they don't always mean anything good. And she pulls out, she's like really straining like the buttons on the back of her blouse now, but she pulls that section down a little farther so you can see what is actually printed right on her chest on the right hand side, and you see that and it you see that it is a butterfly. If there's something very distinct showing right now, I can't imagine that it's anything good, but at this point it could just be because you've angered her. This one, unfortunately, was the first. And a rather twisted reminder.
You'd see Marge's eyes turn from their normal blue to that green he described as his humorous eye color.
If I can survive service in the winter courts, the ghost doesn't bother me.
Well, that makes one of us then. Frankly, Marge, I've dealt with her for 10 years, and I am absolutely terrified of what she could do to me.
Given the chance, would you be free of her?
Now you see her laugh. Yes, though, been trying for 10 years.
There are magics that can bend the reality of this world. I'm sure, should we find such a spell or an object that holds that power, our friends in the hut would agree to give you the chance, if you so choose it.
If such a thing existed, I would. But like I said, I've been trying for 10 years. It's not much I haven't tried yet.
In my long time, I've seen such things. They're extremely rare. But I promise you, should I come into possession of one, we will see if we can free you from your ghost.
And Marge is gonna reach up and like put his hand on her shoulder extra carefully and give her a reassuring squeeze.
Well, now that you have become rather acquainted with the ghost of my past.
And your future.
Oh, shut up. I do have a question for you, Marge. What are you?
I'm a forged.
Well, I know that. You know what I mean. I've seen you both use magics, and I have seen you fight. I don't know that I've necessarily seen something of your kind before. What are you?
Marge is quiet for a moment.
I am a druid who follows the old way of the berserker. I was designed to protect. That is what I do.
And he just called me a liar.
You see Marcella kind of look over her right shoulder again. But she's also learned over the years not to necessarily trust what this voice is telling her. She looks back at you a little confused and just kind of shakes her head and just says, well, I must say, in my time, in my field, for all intents and purposes, you are one of a kind. I've never come across one like you.
And Marge would reach up and tap his head.
My creator knew so as well.
I think he got the number wrong. He's not just one of a kind.
And again, she just looks at you confused, and then just kind of shakes her head and just, this bitch never shuts up, does she?
You may want to adjust your clothing before we return inside to the rest of the party.
But yes, of course. That's at this point she probably would have, once she's verified what was there. She's probably like pushed and after verified what's there and then showed you the butterflies. She's already kind of made to start buttoning her blouse back up. Like I said, it hasn't maybe like 4 buttons in the back. So like I said, she was really straining to show you just that one. But that's when she was hearing these things, you just see her stop and just like processing. So that reminder was probably a good one. She just kind of shakes her head and she's like, yes, I'm afraid you now may know a little too much, Marge. It's not a threat, it's a concern.
As I've said, I've survived in the Winter Court. A ghost doesn't bother me. Those inside, they won't judge you. At some point, the truth must come out.
I understand this, but now is not the time. I'm sorry, it's just not. And that time may never come. Because the less they know, the better. Unfortunately, I've seen how this goes. I've seen how this works. There's a reason why I said I hide this to protect. And that you wouldn't be the first that she has threatened. Considering you already know far too much, I'm sure it may have been easy to gather, or I would hope so. Everything's just a little fuzzy, but that family I was talking about were my fiancé and his sister. Well, suppose it should probably be ex-fiancé. Marge, I hid this from him for a long time. But as you have seen, just from the extent of her M.A.R.G.E, this wasn't something I could hide from him any longer. And I don't always have control. There were a few times that I didn't and was able to regain that control, but every single time she was always there. Always there. And she threatened them. Not in any way I particularly care to reiterate. So I left. He doesn't know. She doesn't know. They never have, and God's willing, they never will. But I can't tell them. You knowing as much as you do right now puts you in far more danger than I think you understand. And I don't want to be responsible for that.
Well, I guess we will find out if your ghost has teeth. If she tries to do anything to me. Because we know I do.
For a moment, that ghostly face returns and just grins.
Oh, I love this.
While the ghost face is there, you're going to see Marge's eyes turn just blood red.
Remember, you parasitic shade. If she dies, you go nowhere. Whatever you're using her for is over and done.
You misunderstand. I never wanted her to begin with. I wanted her father, and she got in the way. If she dies, I'll just move on.
Then move on.
Why? She's right where I wanted her.
And the face disappears again.
And as soon as it's gone, Marge's eyes go back to blue.
I know we said we weren't going to need dice, but I think I might need dice.
Do what you need to do.
I want to see if I can figure out who she's talking about, because my mind as the player went a specific place, and I just want to know if I'm right.
Go ahead. Do what you need to do.
We're not going to roll with that one, because that one rolled me a 3.
She wants you under the protection of the bear.
I don't know that that's it. I will tell you. God damn it, it cocked itself. It bounced, and it landed on 16 and then bounced off of my notebook and landed on a flat 8.
No. Roll it for real. Get a good roll. Are we?
Okay, that was a flat 17.
You were looking. You were rolling insight. Is that what you were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is going to be in post check.
That's fine. That was a flat 17, but let me see what my insight modifier is because
It's your lucky night. I rolled a 2.
I was gonna say that would have been an 18, so she would have had a high DC.
I say we won't talk about how high her modifiers were, but it's not enough to save her.
Well, that lets us know
be real.
She has less than a plus 15.
She was being cocky as hell. So what is it you want to know?
I want to know who she's talking about if I can piece together because she said that's it. To me, it's what she's talking about. I guess me as the player immediately went to Petrus.
You wouldn't be wrong.
Fucking why does everybody want this little shit?
But to be clear, that's not all she means.
No, okay. Well, I would know that because it's an 18.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, if you're interested specifically, like, does she mean close to Petrus or on this mission? Then, yeah,
probably both of those things.
Yes, absolutely, exactly what the hell she means.
Oh shit. We'll wrap this up real quick because she just looks at Marge as soon as she says she's right where I want her. As soon as she recedes, immediately Marcella just looks at Marge and she is absolutely terrified and she just says Petrus. And I think that's probably where we should end.
So, you rejoin the party.
And carving chickens.
Yeah, no, and this I was gonna say now everybody knows why Marcella was so shaken still when they got back to Aoife's hut. Yeah, towards the end of Truth or Truth.
And the game continues.
Welcome to Secrets, y'all.
Secret layer cake.